Hi, welcome to the Rittner Floral School in Boston, Mass. I'm Dr. Steve Rittner, and it's a pleasure to welcome you into one of our classrooms today because we thought it would be fun to just play with flowers and make something funky. We hope you really enjoy this demonstration and have fun and try some of the things we're going to show you. We've got some neat materials that we're going to be playing with. The first thing you'll notice is that we have some of this stuff. Isn't this incredible? It looks like sticks. It's dogwood. It's provided by a company called Blooming a Beloit in Beloit, Wisconsin. And they've got some very, very neat things, and we're going to be playing with some of their products today. And I'm going to take some of my dogwood, and I'm going to break it down into smaller pieces. And I'm going to start using some of these pieces to create a backing to my design. And I'm going to start by placing some of the pieces right over here in the back of my foam. And I'm going to work a line with some of this stuff coming right across. This stuff is really great because it's very, very linear. So it makes it kind of easy to come up with an interesting effect. So I'm taking this, working it across, taking these pieces, and just working my way from one side, from left, over towards the right. This design is fun. It'll be easy to do, I think, and I think you'll enjoy the process of seeing this come together. So, notice how we can just take dogwood branches and come up with something that is kind of interesting. So I'm working my way across. What do you want to call it, a forest? I think I'll put another one over here and one other taller one there. And I'm going to place a couple more here and here. I'm making use of the fact that I have a very, very long container. And although you would expect that a container like this would be used for something more horizontal, I'm going in a totally different direction. That's sometimes part of the fun when we want to go with these kind of funky things, because we can do things that are not exactly expected and come up with some interesting results. So I've got a whole line here created with my dogwood. Now, I'm going to play with another product that's kind of cool. Also, it's a product available from the folks of Blooming a Beloit in Beloit, Wisconsin. These are rose hips. Aren't they really cool? They're a really neat product, and we can take these and use the individual pieces and come up with something that is really going to be kind of fun. And just as I took my dogwood and created a linear element, I'm going to take some of these rose hips and also create a linear section going across. The thing that I like about these rose hips is that when we use them this way, they almost feel like they're floating, don't they? You see them kind of sitting up here, but the stems kind of get mixed in with the stems of our dogwood. So it almost feels like we've got these berries that are just kind of suspended in space and just kind of floating up there. I think it gives a really, really cool effect. Rose hips are a wonderful material to work with. You do have to be careful. They do have thorns. But I think that they are well worth it, and they give such a beautiful effect. And the product that we're getting in from Blooming a Beloit is really, really nice. So notice how we've got a linear element working across using our rose hips, and that's kind of interesting. Now let's see, what other things can we do on this? Well, if I'm going to use rose hips, let's play with a few roses. And so I'm going to take some of my roses and work some roses in. But I'm not going to do quite the same thing that I did before. I'm going to kind of go with a little rhythmic flow here. One higher, one lower. Let's take another one, put it a little bit higher. Here. And I think I'm going to take another one and let's put it lower. So we've got a kind of an interesting rhythmic flow going on here with our roses. Let's play with something else. Let's see, what else do we have here that we can play with? Oh, I've got some really cool lime green carnations. These are really nice. These have become very, very popular. When I was a kid, we didn't have these kinds of colors to play with, but I think it's just wonderful that the various growers have come up with such beautiful materials, and they've developed all of these very, very neat kinds of things for us to be able to use in our designing. I think today as floral designers we're more spoiled than ever before because we do have these various kinds of things that are available to us. Let's add a few more of our lime green carnations. These are a natural color. And so I'm going to work these and create a linear pattern using them. And I'm working all the way across. So I'm coming up with a very, very interesting kind of composition here using these materials. So we've got now a line using our lime green carnations. Now let's see, what other things do we have? Ooh, we've got some really neat things. Here's another product from the folks of Blooming of Beloit in Beloit, Wisconsin. Winterberries, otherwise known as ilex. Let's take some of our winterberries and work these into it. And these give an interesting effect. When we start playing with some of these materials, we can come up with something that's really funky. So taking them and breaking them down and breaking them into smaller pieces really is giving us a very, very neat effect on our design. So I'm going to continue working some here, here, and then how about another piece over here. So notice how that gives me an interesting effect. Now let's take a couple more of our roses and let's get one over here and over in here. So we've got a little counterpart on our roses, and I'm going to get another one right over in here. So we've got something interesting going on with that. Now we've got to finish this off, and I happen to have some great lime green poms. These are really funky. I'm going to work some of these down on the bottom to come up with another interesting line on our design. Isn't this interesting, my viewer? It's kind of fun, kind of funky. And look what you can do with oddball kinds of materials when you mix some of these things together. You know, the combination of our dogwood, of our rose hips, of our ilex berries, of our roses, of our carnations. It gives a very, very interesting kind of an effect. Now, of course, we want to use a little bit of our moss material to cover our mechanics because it's very important that our mechanics be nice and covered. And so I'm taking some of this and working it in to fill in and make sure that my mechanics are nice and clean. What do you think, my viewer? A little different, huh? Something different, unusual, kind of fun and funky. We hope that you enjoyed this brief demonstrations here at Rittner's Floral School today. Play with these materials. Think out of the box. Use things like dogwood branches, rose hips, roses, carnations, poms, and look at the interesting things you can come up with that are off the beaten track a little bit. We hope you enjoyed this brief demonstration. Please come back and visit us with us here at Rittner's again. Thank you.